Do you know where work is being done to revamp the education system and tell the true history of our planet and country? I would like to get involved with that as service to humanity.
Christine, I don't. I know that a significant amount of information regarding the history of our planet and us will be is already been produced by the military and those associated with that particular program. I think that moving forward after the deep state and the global cabal has been taken down, there will be a process of where this information will be presented to not only humanity, but especially to younger generations growing up so that they will know their true heritage. Many people will be have a difficult time with it because it will be totally in the face of Judaism and Christianity. It's interesting that those involved don't think the Muslims will have that much of a hard time with it because they're very open to the idea that we're not alone. But Judaism and Christianity, if it's not Jesus, it's the devil. And that just simply isn't true. So it's either or, black or white, when in fact, most of reality is somewhere in between. You know, there are no absolutes, is what I'm trying to say. That's all I know.
We know Elm envoys are star seeds incarnated here on very specific missions, and some were sent together depending said something. Given that, are any of our special pets also envoys, like Merlin, for instance? Assuming Morine has shared this, are you aware of who he was in your last incarnation? Have you been in contact with his higher self, or is that redundant? Thanks to you and both Tilly, RIP too, for your service to humanity.
Thank you, Miles. Miles, I did get that thing you sent for Merlin. And as soon as I figure out how to get it on his collar where he won't lose it, he'll be wearing it. Okay. So thank you. I have not asked that question, but I will tell you about Myrrh. I am absolutely convinced that I've known him before. And I had a down a Great Dane that I rescued from the pound. Her name was Natalie, and I had Natalie for 4 years, and then I left her with a girlfriend, an ex girlfriend, a past girlfriend, because I was going somewhere where I simply could not have an animal or take care of one. So she did. She agreed to take care of it, and that dog became hers. So when I came back to the States, Natalie was perfectly comfortable being where she was. And then years later, I got another dog named Mally, short for Malibu. And I am convinced that Merlin may have been Malibu as well. Um, they have the same look, they act the same, they worked me the exact same way. Uh, so a lot of times I look at Merlin and I see Mally. So I think they come in, to be guides, to teach us stuff, to remind us about who we are. Um, And for someone who's alone or depressed, getting a critter is wonderful. They pull you out. They do. They pull you out, and they love unconditionally as long as you treat them well with unconditional love. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So that was a good question, Miles. Thank you. Um, I'm sure they're here to help, and they're guardians and mentors in some way. There's an old wives' tale that if you lose a pet and you wait at least 6 months, that gives them time to come back in, uh, to present themselves in some way or fashion in front of you to be adopted again, should they choose to be. So, and I actually hold to that, and I always have. 6 months. I've gone 7, 8, sometimes a year. But I've always had a lot of pets. I love animals. You know, they're great. They bring so much to your life, so much depth, and they're funny as hell too. Sometimes, you don't even need to turn on a television. You just got to watch them. I one webinar years ago. I suggested to people, if you're bored and you're down in the dumps, get a pair of kittens. You want to see funny as hell. Put a pair of kittens in the house. They're funny. They are just hilarious. You know. And then when I brought Merlin into the mix, watching the kitty training, that was interesting. Watch them train Merlin. That was funny too. He got it though. He got it pretty quick. They weren't messing around. You know, yeah, you're bigger, but we're still the boss. That's cats. So anyway, thank you so much.